Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for The Chi. I think that this is the season finale. So, yeah, y'all, let's get into it. And before we get into it, I don't want to forget. I noticed that, like, all of the episodes were named after movies and whatnot. I think they do that from time to time if it's not after songs or certain lyrics or sayings. These are like named after all like very like popular movies and things like that. So anyway, because I don't know what was wrong with me. I saw them. I was like, wait a minute, this is the name of all these different movies. So y'all, let's go ahead and get into this recap review. So oh boy, y'all know whatever his name is, they got out of prison, jail, or wherever he was. He ended up coming to, I guess, pick Trig up or help it. I don't know if he helped him to get this man like somewhere else. Like I don't know what he did. He came and helped him. Trig thanked him and he was like, man, I always got your back. Like you ain't gotta worry about that. And I'm like, okay, whatever you say. I'm gonna need for you to be respectful when you in their house though. Like, calm down. So anyway, everybody is just having all these random moments. Y'all, tell me why Nina done barged in the house and rolled up on Dre and was like, are you gonna forgive me or not? Like, what is it gonna be? Like, you need to make a decision now. Get with it or get gone. And she was like, don't you even try it. Like, how you gonna sit up here and demand somebody to do whatever you want them to do when you was the one out here fighting and bopping? I was like, girl, like I was about to respond on her behalf because I was just like, ma'am, you do know that you was the one cheating. You can't tell somebody that they need to hurry up and make a decision as to what they're gonna do moving forward because you was the one out here thotting and bopping. Like, no, what we not finna do is that. Like, you got an attitude. I ain't got time for it. So anyway, Jacob is still like baited up with old girl. They did not have sex the night prior. And they just show him like awake. Like, I don't think he slept that whole night because the image of her daddy is just there and he feel bad because he know what's going on, but she don't even know her daddy is going through right now. Might be dying at this point. Well, Lene woke up and she was like, I need to get home. And so she over here looking for her shoe, all this other stuff. He was like, okay, well, let me walk you out. She was like, no, I don't need you to walk me out. I can find the door. And so he really is trying to insist that he does it. And so she was like, I ain't like all these other girls you used to. I don't need no hand holder. I'm like, ma'am. So anyway, she ends up eventually finding her shoe. Well, he found it for her, really. But anyway, she gonna go ahead and leave. Jacob's still in his feelings. Excuse me, y'all. I just had watermelon, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute too. I can't wait to get to that part. And those of y'all who know. So anyway, Jacob, he's in a really, really terrible headspace. He really is feeling so like you could tell that he just feels so bad that he knows information that she don't know. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I gotta get home. And so he was like, oh well no, won't you? He was like, you sure you gotta go? She was like, yeah, if my dad finds out that I'm, not home, he's gonna kill me. And so he was like, well, it's a little bit too late for that now. Won't you just stay over here and eat breakfast for me or something? So she was like, oh, okay. So she gonna stay. Well, old girl tried to leave out the house and Dre rolled up and was like, Lene, what are you doing here? And so she was like, oh, hey. She was like, hey, what are you doing here? Then Kevin came out behind her. Y'all know how awkward he is. He is over here getting tongue-tied, don't know what to say, looking guilty even though ain't nothing going down. And child, she was just like, you lucky that I saw this situation unfold and not your mama. And so she was like, well, you're my mom too. She was just like, boy, if you don't get in your room, I'll handle you later on. And so he was like, but you are. And like, she felt like in that moment he was trying to get over to us. Like, you're my mom too. Like, girl. I was like, oh, he actually, see, this is the thing. Like, when you do so much stuff that shows how untrustworthy you can be, ain't nobody trying to hear you. Like, you over here supposed to be in school doing right, and you over here that got expelled from school. They looking at you sideways. You've had so many instances where you ain't done what you're supposed to do. And I understand that's a part of being a teenager, but he done did the absolute most. So anyway, She want to know what's going on with her, and she's already well aware of the living situation, but she didn't know that she got into it with this person that's at the house right now, and she kicked her out, and her brother can't have a say because if he come back to where she was living, he gonna get locked up. It's just too much. It's just too much going on. It don't even make no sense. Too much going on. So she was like, "Well, I was your age when I got kicked out." So she was like, "Look, we're gonna have to figure something out." So they go about their business. Well, back at the house with Trig and them, Trig done put something together, and old boy is gonna have to apologize to Imani. And so he was like, "Oh, I just want to thank you for my getting out, my prison release party, or whatever they wanted to call it, my welcome home party." I ain't even gonna get into that. I'm not even finna get into that. But anyway, and so she was like, okay, is that it? Like, I know that ain't supposed to be it. So she went off a little bit. And so she was like, "I know you don't think that that's supposed to be enough." Like, I was laughing because you need to be on your knees at this point saying, "Thank you so much for allowing me to be in this house with y'all. I know I have not been easy to live with, like, because you've been doing the most, sir." But yeah, it got to the point where he had to come up off of a real, like, "I'm sorry and I appreciate everything" and all of that. Like, it was too much. Like, he really be doing the most out here. But yeah, so it is what it is. So anyway, Tiffany is out and about, doing her thought thizzle and whatnot. And she with, what's his name? Dante? Whatever the dude name is that she lived for. And he done brought her some pizza. Now look, wait a minute, y'all. I live for pizza, even though I shouldn't. And I'm being better now. I'm not being bad. I just want to say that as well. Being good. Trying my best to be good. It is what it is. That pizza was looking good. Like, I love thick crust pizza. I'm trying to figure out, like, is that pizza, like, really, really thick? Or is that supposed to be Chicago style? That pizza looked delicious. Like, I like bready, cheesy. Like, I have issues. Excuse me, y'all. Just ignore me. But anyway, so she was like, "That do look good, but I mean, that ain't really what I would want for breakfast." And so it gets to a point where he has to explain to her, "I am not your man." Like, she was like, "Well, what would you do if I left Emmett for you?" And he was like, "What?" Like, he looking at her like, "Why are you trying to mess up the good thing we got?" Like, I'm just your, basically, I'm just your side dude. Like, if you need a couple of dollars for something, I handle that. If your son need his hair cut because the barber fell through, I'm here for that. Like, little stuff like that, random stuff. And the things that her actual man don't come through on, that's why he there. So it's like, it's starting to click like, oh, I'm just sex and, little random things to this man. So I'm like, oh, hell for you finally realizing. But I still hate the fact that she gets her entire life when she's with everybody but him, her own husband, though. Like, and I get it, but at the same time, it's just sad. Well, Douda is going to make an announcement, and of course, people want to know, like, if he has a comment on his constituent getting shot and what's going on with that. And he over to us, "Oh well, definitely. I want to say, hopefully, prayers to him and his family and all that stuff. But we have a major win, and." Basically, everything has been working well with Trig and Tracy with that organization where they are basically policing themselves. They have not been calling the police for anything. They've been handling everything on their own. And now they are going to get funds that would have been used for police work to be redirected into Tracy's organization. So, of course, she's very happy about that. And I'm just like, oh, I cannot stand Douda. Douda irks my soul. Child. Emmett at the house in his feelings under the covers. Tiffany finally busts up in the house. And so he like, hey. Then he gets to the point where he was just like, "I'm tired of this BS. Like, it's got to stop. It's going to be me or him." And so she looking like, "I ain't finna do this with you. Like, I'm not doing this with you, whatever. I ain't trying to hear nothing you talk about right now." And it's like, I hear you, but at the same time, how you gonna do all the dirt you've been doing for years upon years And now you're like, oh, I'm tired of this. Now that you want to actually finally start acting right, now you want to be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. Is what you might as well be singing at this point. And anyway, so Duda, of course, has made an appearance down to the function, which is the organization, and he's thanking everybody because you got to have people who gonna man the phones and all that. Let them know the good news, because I guess it wasn't a live press conference and that the information and the video footage was going to be released later, because the way they reacted, they didn't know. So they happy to hear about the money getting reallocated and all that good stuff. It is what it is. And I'm just like, do what you do, whatever. Gemma in her feelings, they at the hospital, and well, before they went to the hospital, the little girl, Lene, she was talking to Dre because Dre offered to try to get her to move in with them. And she was like, I don't know, I might even figure it out on my own. And she let her know, because she was like, well, you did it, I could do it too. And so she was like, well, you shouldn't have to think about doing any of this stuff. Because she was like, well, I just figured it out. She was like, you shouldn't have to figure it out. Like, you're a child. So she was like, well, I'll think about it. So it is what it is. Like, we end up finding out that when Dre got kicked out, it was because initially, before she even got to that scenario, her situation was bad, y'all. Her parents died in a car accident. So she'd gotten sent to her grandparents' home. Well, of course, they were older. They weren't here for the way that she was speaking. They did not like the way she was dressed. And so eventually they just kicked her out. So she had to fend for herself, and she would end up on friends' couches and on the street sometimes. And that's no way for no child to live. That's why anytime I hear about anybody who's been kicked out for one reason or another, I don't understand the people who kick people out because they're pregnant. Like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? I don't like hearing about that. I don't like people getting kicked out because they find out that they're gay and bi and all this other. It's crazy stuff. Okay, kick them out because they're stealing from you and trying you and bringing gang violence into your home and selling drugs out of your home, and you done told them about that. I understand that. But these people be pregnant. There have been so many people who've been put out on the streets that have been pregnant. It's like, what's wrong with you? Child, I can't. Anyway, I ain't even finna get into that, because that's a whole other situation. So anyway, Trig is talking to old boy. They playing some kind of game. They love having amazing music playing in the background. So anyway, they playing, and he was like, yeah, man, I need to get some money back. Somebody owed him money from like way back in the day. And so it gets serious, because Trig ended up telling him, yeah, you ain't gonna be able to do that, because he got hit by a vehicle and the vehicle kept going. So basically the person dead. Then he started reminiscing back on the times that when he was a child, he wanted some ice cream or something, but then he was gonna rob the ice cream man, and he was like, man, you ain't gotta do that. He ended up buying ice cream for the whole community and all this other stuff. So he started having these great memories of the dude, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he took it like some type of way once he found out the dude was dead. So I'm like, well, hopefully finding that out will be something that will click within, because some people, like I tell y'all all the time with sisters, some people gotta die for you to learn. Whether you, the person yourself, you have to die, or somebody really, really close to you gotta die for you to learn. And I hate that that's how some people learn their lesson, but some people don't change until they see something very, very drastic happen, and I hate that. Emmett at his mama house, helping her clean up some stuff, or trying to clean for her, and she ends up yelling to him, telling him that her doctor's on the phone, so he had to turn the vacuum cleaner off. Well, they said that the results that they had for her stuff has been really, really good, and that if everything turns out continuously being the same way with her numbers, that she won't have to take chemo anymore. So I'm like, okay then. So of course he's very, very happy. It is what it is. Well, Gemma has already said that, there were cameras all around the house. She should be able to pull up footage to show who hurt her daddy and all this other stuff. Well, Jacob was trying to flow with it until then. He was like, okay, wait, before you look at the footage, I got to tell you something. So he ended up telling her everything. And it was to the point where she really was about to say, like, she really was thinking that his brother was the reason why all this stuff was going down. Like, he had to tell her, if it wasn't for my brother, your daddy would be dead right now. So it is what it is. And, you know, she in her feelings, and he just walked off because he was like, she probably don't want to talk to me no more, because he's known since that night. Like, he had to straight up tell her, like, that day when I went back to get my bag, the house wasn't empty. I saw your daddy laying on the floor, dying, like in a pool of blood. So of course she's upset right now, and it is what it is. Either she's gonna come around and understand that he did what he did out of fear and he just didn't know what to do, or it's just gonna be over. Well, they are throwing the place where Tracy works, they have been having Kevin to be down there to help homeless people and people who are less fortunate. So he's down there, like, I guess a soup kitchen type of situation right now. And old girl came through the line, and he trying to talk to her, and he gets a little bit excited because there's a possibility that she will be moving in with them. And so he's like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it's like, I'm having me a good live-in girlfriend. And so she was like, no. And I didn't say that that I would move in and all this other stuff. And don't you think that'll be nasty? Because if I live with y'all, that would make me your sister. And he was looking at her like, girl, what is you talking about? So it is what it is. So yeah. Jacob ended up coming in the house and telling Trig what was going down. Old boy, of course, has that prison/jail mentality. And he is like, see, he a snitch. I knew it. I knew he was going to say something. And so Trig was like, I'm glad he said something. Y'all, it's a mess. It's a mess. And I forgot to tell y'all that during the press conference, well, after the press conference was over, Trig rolled up on him, and Doodah was like, you better hope that MF died. He was like, well, I'm praying that he lives, and walked off. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, you have decided to draw your line in the sand. That's definitely what is happening right here. Trig is done dealing with you, sir. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know how you're going to do it, because, you know, Doodah is Doodah. And your brother is dead. Like, Reggie gone. I'm just saying, it is what it is. So that's what's crossing my mind. I'm like, okay, how he going to get out of this? Because it's like, essentially, you're crossing him. Because even though Doodah want to put on this facade like he is just so changed and whatever. Like, he want to put on these fronts for everybody. But Trig been seeing through it, and it's like he be trying to, but he just know what it is. He know. Anyway, Doodah got the audacity. He got the audacity to be over here having a candlelit dinner or whatever, or dimly lit dinner with Tracy. And so she over here says, oh my gosh, I love you. I fall in love with you. And then he was like, he over here trying to be a player about it. I'm like, girl, what is with all of y'all heifers over here being so desperate to be in love with somebody else's husband? What is the fascination with being a side heifer? Please enlighten me. What is the fascination? If you really love him, and I can't, y'all know that song. Do y'all know that song? Love Makes It Right. When I tell you, there was so many talented people that would sing songs back in the day. And like, as I grew up, I'm like, this is a whole side heifer song. What is we doing? Like, I cannot. This heifer legit said, home I know comes first, but second to that I'll be. What? Do not sit up here and tell me that as long as I am the only other woman. Like, there are so many different songs, y'all. There was one of the songs that said, I'll be the other woman as long as I know that I'm the only other woman you make love to. What is wrong with y'all? I'm so serious, y'all. I cannot. Stuff like that is so stupid to me. I just be like, you really sat up here and said, ooh, yes, let me get my entire life with a married man. Let me put all my hopes and dreams into this married man. And as much as I live for Millie Jackson used to trip me out how she was sitting up there basically saying that she was the proud side chick, knowing that she would never be able to see the married man for holidays and all that stuff because he got to be at the house with his real family to play the faithful husband. And I'm just like, I can't. I can't do it. I cannot, y'all. I'm sorry. It just be taking me to another place. So anyway, after Jacob went in the house and told him what they said, Trig was here for, he said, I'm glad. And she ended up rolling up. She came and found him in the house. And Trig was like, who that had the dough? So it was her. And so, she was like, I have the footage, but I can't bring myself to watch it. I have the only copy. And so, she ended up giving the copy to Trig. And so she started walking off. And so Jacob was like, where you going? And she was like, oh, I'm going to the hospital. So he was like, I'll come with you. So Trig was like, yeah, you can go with her to the hospital. He go on the inside of the house, y'all, because, he hears what's going on, but he don't even understand what led up to the situation. Man, he put the flash drive in his laptop and he watches Doodah do what he do. And he was so done, y'all. He couldn't even watch the entire thing. Like, he gets so mad, he slams the top down. I was like, oh no, I know that's right. So Trig is really, really done with Doodah at this point. He is so done. He's so done. He done rolled up on Doodah. Was like, you know what? What you gonna do is you gonna leave. Like, this man rolled up to this man's condo or whatever, his penthouse or whatever it is he live in. Rolled up and said, yeah, what you need to do is leave. I have footage and it is what it is. And so he was like, I'll talk to the girl. He was like, you don't need to talk to her. I already talked to her. I already handled that. And so he was like, well, what you want? How much money you want for it? He was like, man, Doodah, you know me better than that. Man, Doodah started going on. Doodah killed me when he started banging on stuff and getting mad. I really be like, if you don't go somewhere and sit down, let me bang on a chair or on a tabletop because I'm mad and I'm not getting my way. That's pretty much what I see. He looks like a baby or a toddler throwing a tantrum to me when he do stuff like that. But anyway, so he was like, okay, well, what I got to do though? He was like, leave. He was like, what you talking about? And he thought he was joking. And he was dead serious. Like, you need to leave. Like, get going, all of that. And then it's so hilarious because Trig said what he had to say, set it off. And then he was like, yeah, and tell Tracy I said, hey, Tracy over there. So Tracy done, she tied her spear. She'd overheard this whole situation. And she was like, I thought you were done. I thought you were changed. He was like, I'm a politician, baby. I'm like, just because you're a politician does not mean that that's what you need to do. Why can't people decide, I want to change the narrative. I want to break these cycles. I want to actually be an upstanding citizen. I want to actually do what I'm supposed to do, which is do the right things. So anyway, I was done. I was like, oh, Trig to set it off. Because at this point, he got all this ammunition against him. So it's like, what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You can't do nothing to him. Are you gonna leave? Or what? So Tracy done went all the way off. She was like, yeah, and I think you do need to leave because if he, I believe him. I believe he's going to release it because he straight up told him, I'm going to release the footage tomorrow morning if you ain't gone or however long. Like the next day he said he was going to release it. Child, Tracy said, if you don't leave, she was just like, you need to leave. I'm done with you. I ain't got time. You might as well be done because I'm done. And he was like, well, I really do. I just need you to know I really do care about you and all this other stuff. She was just like, I don't really care about what you're talking about right now. I just don't want my brand to be tarnished because of what you had going on. I don't need nobody walking around and snooping around trying to look into my books because of you and all the foolishness that you've had going on. Like, she made a whole lot of valid points. She was tired of her spirit. So anyway, they ended up actually having a surprise party for Jada because they wanted to give her flowers while she's here. And, she ended up doing a speech and she was like, I want to thank 3 special men in my life. She thanked Darnell, She thanked her son and she thanks Wade, her man. I was like, yeah, you better do that. But wait a minute, y'all. I knew I was going to forget. So back when they found out that, basically it's going to be in remission, I guess you could say, because her numbers are doing so well, he immediately got on the phone and set it off. See, I told y'all that eating that alkaline stuff was going to work. Do y'all know I hollered? I really was like, I know that's right. Because it really does work. Like, alkaline lifestyle is everything. It reverses everything. Look, I'm trying to tell y'all, you ain't got to take my word for it. I was a skeptic. I finally looked into it. Dr. Sebi is the reason why I 100% believe in the alkaline lifestyle. Before that man passed away, I finally said to myself, you know what? I'm going to start doing research. So along the way, eventually he passed away, but I just kept looking into it. Then one day I said, you know what? Let me try to see if it worked. It works. And I'm starting back alkaline as we speak. Once I'm fully on my alkaline journey again and y'all actually start seeing a difference, and I'm confident enough that I'm going to stand up and show y'all what I look like, a before and after and all that stuff, y'all gonna see. Because it's not me necessarily trying to lose weight. It's just going to happen. It happened last year when I was doing it religiously. It just is what it is. It's just the way that you eat and you drink. Certain things that you're eating and you're drinking, and it works. It really does work, y'all. Oh my gosh. I was like, you better say that. You better say it. So anyway, Douda is going to have to make his grand escape. And who's going to be there? We know who's going to be there, his wife. And so she's trying to figure out, where they going to go. And he just going to have to drive and figure out. They're going to have to figure out along the way where they're going to go. But he got to get up out of Chicago. They tired. While they're having the situation for Jada, they're having a function for Jada, Keisha ends up bringing old boy. Now, what I did forget to mention was that he approached her one day and he was like, well, my roommate kept asking me if you were my girlfriend or whatever, because, I seemed like I was really into you and I figured that I had to change some things. This man brought her some roses, flowers, or whatever that he handpicked, first of all, second of all, third of all. I gotta take my glasses off because got my entire life. Y'all don't understand. Y'all understand? Okay, y'all. So then he gave her like this piece of paper that said, will you be my lady? And then on the inside of it, you had to check or X the box that says yes or no. So he really handed her all that stuff. And then she was like, you got a pen? And she ended up like Xing the yes box. And I was like, you know what? Okay then. And so he was like, I knew it would work because, us corny dudes. It just works for, stuff like that works for us, us corny dudes. I was like, you know what? Don't tell them all the secrets. Don't do it. Don't do it, sir. And see, like, I live for like certain types of nerdy / corny dudes. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, it is so attractive. Like, for real. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Anyway, like, I'm so here for it. Like, that's why everything that he's done that might have seemed like, so like, who cares? That ain't exciting. That ain't nothing. Like, I've been getting my entire life. Like, little stuff like that is everything to me. So anyway, Emmett ends up meeting him because, of course, she was very upfront and told him about their history and all this other stuff. And he was like, well, you're going to have to get used to me. That's my friend. It is what it is. So whatever y'all got going on, you better know I'm going to be here. And so he went to go get her some punch or something. And so he was like, you good. If you happy, I'm happy. And so they embraced and all that good stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, set it off. So I'm here for it. Eventually, Dre pulled her wife to the side during the party and was like, I know we aren't on the best of terms right now. I know we going all the way through it, but there's a situation going on right now, and I want to know if we can bring in this child. She going all the way through it. Remember, I told you about her. And so she was like, we ain't even got our stuff together. Why would you even say this? We can't afford to bring nobody else into the house. We can't afford another mouth to feed. Like, what is we talking about? And I swear it took everything in me to have to, like, I had to reel it back in because I'm like, okay, this is a TV show, but I'm going to need for her to understand that I know people who have way more children than that and that were not on any assistance, that were poor. Like, take my life as an example. My daddy did work for the state of Alabama, but he had all of us on the insurance. So he was essentially the working poor. Like you would think like, oh, he worked for the state of Alabama. Like, no, myself, himself, my mama, my brother, and my sister, 5 people that you're paying for monthly out of every one of your checks for insurance. That's just insurance. That's just the insurance part that you got to pay. That's not factoring in all of the other medical bills that are racking up, because everybody except for me stayed in the doctor's offices. My mama and my daddy stayed on operating tables. Like, this is not money that's growing on trees here. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, a lot of these procedures were not free. None of them were free. Us being born wasn't free. I'm just saying, like, and then we have to live in a home. Like, just saying. There was just 3 of us, 3 children. So, ma'am, Keisha's taking care of her child, and every time we see her, she got the child. So you acting like you at the house with the baby all day while she running the streets like some trifling teen mama or something, and that ain't even the situation. Like, that's why I'm like, girl, shut up and take them children in. Take that child in and go on about your business. All you got to worry about is telling her that she need to get off that game sometime and go outside and get some air, because she going to be on that video game all day. That's all you gonna have to really worry about. I don't think her and Kevin gonna really sneak around like that. And if they do, it's not gonna be that often, and they might actually leave the house and be smart about it. But whatever. So anyway, they gonna try to, you know, work on that situation, work on themselves and all that good stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, do what you do. But that child do need somewhere to live and stay. Emmett had a one-on-one with his wife and was like, I don't want to do this no more. I want us to just be monogamous and that's it. This open marriage foolishness ain't working for me. And so she was like, okay, do you promise to never cheat on me again? And he was like, whew, never. Ooh, that was a strong word. So they both basically promised that they would try their best. Child, please. So tell me why old boy that was locked up, he was walking with Imani. And I feel like I'm saying her name incorrectly, y'all. I don't know why. Triggs girl. And some dude, like, legit, like, did her like that in passing. And she was like, you know, she set it off. Y'all know how she get. And so, man, tell me why he hemmed that man up and told him, you better apologize to her right now. And he over here thanking him, he's spilling her tea. And it's like, y'all really be trying her. Like, just like you know, everybody else know too. Like, stop. Like, 99% of the people know what her tea is. Stop. So, it is what it is. She was just like, he ain't got to apologize to me. And so, like, after the situation was over, they start back walking again. And so she was like, you know, I can handle myself. He was like, yeah, I know, but you know, that's a expensive, what he said? He said that's an expensive lace front, and it'll be a tragedy for it to get messed up and damaged or something. He said, I was like, wait, not the lace front. Not the lace front. I'm like, sir, what we not gonna do with this? Oh my God, I was so tired. But yeah, y'all, they have a little moment where they show Kevin, his mamas, and the girl, Lene, moving in, and they're showing her where she's gonna be, which she's gonna be on the couch that, you know, converts into a bed, but he cleaned out a drawer for her. It is what it is. And hopefully that'll be a great situation. Yeah, Tiffany has gotten a taste of the type of life that Emmett has been living. And she politely woke up while she was in Emmett's arms, woke up and was like, oh, let me go out here and do what I want to do. And she ended up linking up with Tiana Taylor's man. I'm not even going to say nothing on that, but it is what it is. But he done rolled up on her before, and he liked what he liked. He already said earlier in the episode that since they put her edible items on their list of things to purchase, business has been booming. And they really be saying it all for her stuff. So yeah, she went off to link up with him. I was just like, girl, bye. But Papa ended the episode with his podcast, and he was like, you know, I hate how people equate Chicago to this terrible place. And it's not all like that. We have so much good that's going on here. And they actually showed the function that was going on. They ended up having a block party. They'd already talked about having a block party to celebrate them being able to police themselves and handle situations on their own without the help of the police. And they showed people dancing. They showed people doing acrobatics. They showed people just listening to music, walking, talking, laughing, enjoying one another, cooking out, getting haircuts. It was just a really nice vibe. They showed like everybody, and they played this song. I know a place, ain't nobody crying, ain't nobody worried, ain't no smiling faces. But anyway, y'all, fun fact, that was actually the very first song that my sister learned how to play on the bass guitar. And she used to play that song to death. But she was good though. She was good. When she learned it, she learned. And another fun fact. I always wanted to learn how to play the piano by actually reading the music. But because of relatives being haters and whatnot, that didn't happen. It's a sad situation, and that's why, in a lot of cases, at least for me, blood is not thicker than water. It just is what it is. You have who you have in your family, and you learn to deal with them, love them from a distance. And in my case, I don't go around most of them because I know how they are in real life. But anyway, y'all, I said all that to say, I love that song. I am very much so into music. Don't know when I'm gonna bring back karaoke and all that good stuff, but it is what it is. So anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed the recap review for this. I think it was the final episode of the season, y'all. So I loved it. A lot of people have had a lot to say about this season, and they're making it seem like it's not about Chicago anymore, and it's not giving the feel that it used to give. And I loved it. I don't know what they talking about. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed how deep they went with a lot of the content. Only thing I can really say is that I did not like how Papa and Maisha's characters were like put on the back burner, and we very rarely saw them and heard from them this season. That's what I didn't like. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed the recap review for this show. I will be back a little bit later on for Family or Fiance. Y'all couldn't even concentrate because I was like, what is this random noise all of a sudden? Like, people are randomly trying it. And I'm like, y'all was quiet for a good little while. Now that I'm almost done, now y'all want to make all this noise. Like, stop. Anyway, y'all be safe out there. Stay cool. Be safe. I'll see y'all later on.